Ocean plastic pollution is terrible no matter how you slice it. It's bad if you love animals. A study of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch showed that 74% of the diets of sea turtles in the area consisted of ocean plastics. It may be bad for your own health. There's a growing body of evidence that microplastics, plastics that are broken down into minute pieces, are widespread in humans and have a detrimental effect on human health. BPA, which is added to make plastics transparent, was found in 93% of people's urine and may interfere with testosterone. Ocean plastic is even bad if you are a Scrooge McDuck and only care about money. A Deloitte study estimates that aquatic plastic causes $6 to $19 billion in damage to environmental cleanliness, tourism, and aquaculture each year. So how do we get rid of this ocean plastic? Well, we both have to remove what is already there and prevent new plastic from being added. It's estimated that over 150 million tons of plastic has accumulated in the Earth's oceans. Less than a fraction of a percent of this lies at the surface. Most of it has washed up on coastlines, where it can be more easily cleaned up, or has settled into the deep ocean, where it presumably will do less damage to wildlife. That's not to say that this isn't serious. That tiny fraction is still over 250,000 tons of plastic, and that plastic can do a lot of ecological damage. The good news is there are efforts underway to remove plastic from our oceans. The Ocean Cleanup Project is developing an affordable, efficient method for cleaning up the plastic that is floating in the ocean. However, there is little point in cleaning up the existing plastic when more and more plastic is being dumped into the ocean every day. It's estimated that around 20 million tons every year, or approximately one cargo ship's worth of plastics, enters aquatic ecosystems every single day. So where is this new plastic coming from? It turns out there are two main big sources: lost fishing nets and mismanaged waste from developing countries. We will call these ghost net plastic and land plastic. Put simply, to solve the problem of ocean plastics, we need to solve these two problems. Ghost nets are a huge problem. They arise as a result of storms, nets being damaged, or nets being dumped when they are no longer useful. More than 640,000 tons of nets, lines, pots, and traps used in commercial fishing are dumped and discarded in the sea every year, the same weight as 55,000 double-decker buses. Close to half of the plastic found floating in the ocean is ghost nets. However, the problem with ghost nets is not just that they're made of plastic, but that they can trap and kill animals as they drift and destroy coral habitats. An estimated 45% of the marine mammals listed on the International Union for Conservation of Nature Red List have been negatively affected by ghost gear. Recent studies show that ghost gear is 4 times more likely to harm marine life through entanglement than all other forms of marine debris combined. There are several things we could do to prevent ghost nets. The first thing we could do is we could make sure systems are in place so old nets can easily be disposed of or recycled. Secondly, we can mandate that nets have trackers on them that allow for lost nets or even broken pieces to be recovered. Finally, we could mandate that all nets are made of biodegradable materials so that even if they can't be recovered, the damage will be minimized. Now, what about garbage that comes from land? The vast majority comes from developing countries, most of them being in Asia. It is often improperly stored in open dumps where it can get blown into or wash into nearby bodies of water. Over 80% of ocean garbage comes from just 1,000 rivers. Only a handful of the most polluting rivers are located in developed countries. Given this information, you might think that this is just a developing country problem, which is not 100% the case. The truth is, some of this garbage was imported from developed countries. At the peak of garbage exports, the import of plastic waste to China contributed 10 to 13% additional mass to the domestic plastic waste. It's clear that even though garbage exports did not help, most of the plastic in developing countries is a result of domestic consumption. What's happening is that Asia is going through the Kuznets curve, a period in a country's development where people have enough wealth to produce and consume goods on a large scale, but lack the infrastructure and awareness to mitigate the associated environmental damage. This is the same polluting, environmentally destructive phase that developed countries went through before they had the wealth and the awareness to develop better systems. So what can we do to solve this problem? The long-term solution is to improve waste management in developing countries where between 60 and 90% of all waste is mismanaged. The World Bank has spent over $4 billion to help countries improve these systems, and we should continue to support or accelerate these efforts. In the meantime, we should do our best to prevent plastic from getting to the ocean in the first place. It is way more expensive to clean up plastic once it has reached the ocean than to clean it from rivers or near coastlines. The ocean cleanup is building garbage interceptors that are now being tested in Indonesia and Malaysia. By my estimate, it will take about $500 million to have interceptors on the 1,000 most polluting rivers. This may seem like a large amount of money. However, this only amounts to 1 year's worth of damage ocean plastic does to developed countries on the Pacific Rim. Therefore, it makes sense for developed countries that already have developed waste management systems to pay for these garbage interceptors while developing countries work to improve their waste management systems. Given this information, even though plastic bans in developed countries are well-intentioned and there certainly is a case they will help, the difference they will make for the overall ocean plastic problem is marginal. A better action that developed countries could adopt along with funding waste interceptors would be to stop exporting waste to countries that don't have the capacity to properly handle it. Ironically, this is already starting to happen the other way around, with developing countries banning trash imports. If we're going to have any success in cleaning our oceans of ocean plastic, we will need to combine all these efforts. Making this video made me realize that a lot of the most difficult problems we face, whether climate change, overfishing, or ocean plastic, do not fit nicely within the borders of countries. One country working on its own will make a difference. However, it may not actually do a lot to solve this immense global problem. We should be working together and helping the countries that are struggling because ultimately we all live on the same spaceship called Earth. Even with our best efforts, we likely won't be able to bring plastic pollution to zero as long as we continue to using conventional plastics. Is there a way that we can just move beyond plastics? I will explore this in my next video.
Hi everyone, thank you for watching this video. Do you agree with my assessment? Let me know in the comments below. Also, did you enjoy this video and find it informative? If you did, please consider subscribing, and if you'd like to support more content like this, please consider supporting me on Patreon. If you'd like to take action on this issue, I would consider supporting the Ocean Cleanup Project. Their mission is to remove ocean plastic, and they're also responsible for much of the new knowledge we've gained about ocean plastic in recent years. You can also support local conservation and cleanup projects. I've left a link in the description below.